Chapter 1. Meet 3 new characters. Here's the new cast of characters, ladies and gentlemen. Starting off with Red Bow Frankfort the Black Wolf. Born on October 31st, 1978, in a forest in North Carolina, surrounded by his entire family that took care of him while he was young and growing up. He was never the leader of the pack, and the fact that he will never be will later kill him inside. 2. Bruce Brock Belcock, the Red Wolf. Born on July 4th, 1977. He was born in a forest between Jersey City and Hoboken, New Jersey, almost all by himself, with only his mother and father being there to take care and teach him life lessons. He's not the leader of the pack anyway. And 3. Jennifer Hanklin Bally the White Wolf. Born on May 30th, 1980. She was born in upstate Vermont in a very wide open forest, surrounded by her entire family, just like Red Bow. Jennifer was Red Bow's girlfriend and only love interest he ever had in his life. There are other characters. Number 1, the ghosts of 30 wolves that died laughing on June 3rd, 1995. 2. Red Bow's entire family of 5. Annabelle, his mother, Charles, his father, Phil, his youngest brother, Tom, his oldest brother, and Shirley, his only sister. 3. A random police officer that'll only be mentioned in Chapter 8. 4. The Wolf Heaven Gatekeeper that will only be mentioned in Chapter 9 before we get to the life lessons. Any other character that I have not yet mentioned will be mentioned in any other chapter throughout this entire audiobook, and only then. The story begins on the night of December 27th, 2010, where all 3 of them joined together to drive from where they all lived, a few miles within each other's area, in Pennsylvania. It took them from 9:30 p.m. all the way up to 3:35 a.m. on December 28th, 2010. By the time they got to Michigan, they got more gas, stopped to take a 20-minute nap, empty their bowels and bladders out, and got something to eat at a gas station they found that was open 24/7. So this is where their story and our story takes off and begins. Chapter 2. The Haunting Experience on Empty Land. On the night, or if you want to call it morning, of December 28th, 2010, Red Bow, Bruce, and Jennifer go out to Michigan, only to find the very plot of land where the Theater of the Lamb once stood and resided by. It was around 4 a.m. when they arrived. It was a cold but not so windy night there, and then Jennifer flashes her flashlight to where she began to hear a gigantic outburst of laughter, scaring also Red Bow and Bruce. Jennifer quietly whispers her fear-induced rant.
Maybe there were wolves who were served drinks here before, like absolute maniacs. It's hard as fuck to tell how many there were because, to simply put it, I just have no idea why this bar even existed. Red Bow, if you dare build another bar over the one that collapsed and burned down in 1995, the ghosts will definitely come to get us, kill us, and take our souls with them.
Bruce was terrified by not just the harrowing laughter, but also what Jennifer just said. Red Bow fires back at Jennifer's legit paranoia about the cursed plot of land with his response.
Jennifer, stop trying to convince me not to build up my own bar on this old plot of land. I bought it offline. It was worth $4,000, and I'm pretty goddamn sure that it was an offer worth taking advantage of, sweetie. Before we go back home, we got to look at what it is that's left of that non-existent bar before we start building it.
So the trio decided to walk up to the very spot that old bar was on in 1995. All they've seen were a bunch of rotting and decomposing corpses and bones. At the time of what happened to make it cursed, 30 wolves died. And of course all of them being anthro, because this is an anthro story. The amount of bones that remain looks like only 15 of their corpses remain on the brink of complete decomposition. And that of course includes the dead and dying corpse of Dicklet. They decided to drag all the remaining 15 corpses to the lake about 150 feet away from the plot of land where the bar was long after its time. After they were done with doing all that, they washed the grass with a water hose to clean off the rest of the old brownish black blood and threw out the remaining bones to where they just bounce down the steep hill and into the lake, right with the corpses. Around 6:30 a.m., they arrive at their own respective homes to crash into their beds without brushing their teeth at the Come Hither Inn. How about that plot twist? They woke up in the early hours of the afternoon on December 28th, 2010. A day later, they went back to the haunted plot of land and started building the bar without having even thought up an ideal name for it. All it took them is all their energy, time, money, and every other resource they had to use for all of this. They had all their respective breakfasts and lunches. They went back to building up on the bar that they are in the process of constructing. Chapter 3. Redbow builds a brand new bar over the same plot of land. 5 days later, by the time the bar's construction was completed, Redbow named it Bad to the Bow Wow. This bar, this time, is still around in the timeline and lore of this audiobook franchise, unlike the Theater of the Lamb. Typical bar shit like fights and heated arguments that end in both parties quietly leaving peacefully without breaking out into a fight. Also stuff like accidents, customers sometimes passing out after having a shot cup or glass too many, and power outages here and there. But in spite of what happens in this audiobook/story, the joint seems clean and proper to this day. Customers started coming in normally. The fights were rare then, but today in 2023, in the lore of The Curious Case of Whisper Whillet, it's kind of gotten out of control at times. But it's sure to say it's an all-around fun time joint for adult anthro animals of any species in this book.